If I could sell sadness in the market, as it is sold the wheat or the sorghum, I would be the richest man in the world, because I have lived and seen a lot of sadness in my life. Happiness is one of the features that typify Indian people's way of being. Their countenance, their expressions show happiness. They always feel happy in spite of not having anything. Their philosophical tradition includes three concepts which form the basis to understand their personalities and behavior. Sat means truth, Chit conscience, and Ananda happiness. For them, there is not one unique truth, but several truths. The universe is the conscience and essential value, the origin of the universe. The difficulty of living above such concepts disappears because they are living in Ananda. They live to feel happy, live happiness. Their life and human being is based on joy. Life is pleasure, happiness, Ananda. So we can always see the smile on their faces, even on the poorest people. They also have a different conception of time. Time is coming, it does not go. Time is infinite, it cannot be measured because of its eternity. Women are the biggest discriminated group in India. As a little girl, she is going to be submitted to her parents, and at the time of getting married, to her parents-in-law, especially to her mother-in-law, who will frequently behave despotically towards her, behavior that she will repeat with her daughter-in-law afterwards. Women don't have any rights. They only have duties. They don't usually go to school, and if they do, they have to leave at an early age. They work all day long, at home, at farms, taking care of their younger brothers. It is considered a misfortune to give birth to a baby girl, because if she gets married, the family will have to pay a very high and out of proportion dowry, which means she will be treated as a slave in exchange for the amount paid. However, women's elegance and femininity are the tenet and driving force of India. Their graceful and light look is like a bamboo cane floating in the wind. She works hard to look pretty, tidying herself up for all kinds of daily activities. Every morning, Indians purify their bodies while rubbish is piling up outside their houses. This is one of the greatest paradoxes of India. whereas it is one of the dirtiest places in the world, Delhi and Mumbai being among the 25 dirtiest cities worldwide, Indian people have a very high concept of personal hygiene. The idea of dirt is different from ours. Theirs come from caste notion. Sweat, excrements, menstrual blood are contaminants, even for oneself, so you must get rid of it. As the result of this notion, there is a deep relationship between personal and home cleaning. They take care of the purity of food. The kitchen is always meticulously clean, the floor well scrubbed, and the pots in their places. Consequently, the idea of dirt hygiene is a cultural concept, and we should not impose our European point of view to the Indian people. The journalistic topic India is the most populated parliamentary democracy of the world is true. It has got a political system that was inherited from the British. The middle class numbers 400 million people, higher than the USA population and 10 times the Spanish one. There is an annual growth of 8% economically speaking, and as a member of the nuclear club, perhaps it could be the best prepared country to be in the gravity center of the triangular main line of the 21st century between China and the United States of America. Its huge intellectual and technological shared capital explains the existence of a thriving business. 1 out of 4 Silicon Valley companies is the property of Indian people not living in the US. The Indian boom is a strange and unchallengeable case. The key of this is the mix between the liberal democracy inherited by the British colonies and the caste system, policy dynasties, and a deep spirituality, its major disadvantage from other times. If we put all this together, it's when we find the unique case we are now facing, India. It is the tortoise that will end up beating the Chinese hare. The current Indian society has prevailed over the weight of different god powers. India is a society divided in castes. This system exists from immemorial times. It classifies people according to their communities, which are strongly divided and closed. The belonging to one or another caste has its origin on the birth moment, passing on from one generation to the next one, and being an irreversible process, which means they can never change their original caste. The origin of this system is not clear. There are people who believe it has a religious nature. Others say that it is based on the Indian social history with a lot of migrations, and others provide biological reasons as human natural superiority of some groups over the others. According to the electoral roll of March 2011, the Indian population rises to 1,200 million people, from whom 200 million haven't got the basic rights. They are Dalits, oppressed in Hindi. They choose this adjective instead of untouchable, appellative, given by the Indian society for showing the impossibility of being touched by higher castes in order to avoid the impurity. They are considered impure by birth, unworthy of having a job, and they'll suffer the economic, cultural, political, and social discrimination. Both discrimination and the practice of Dalits are forbidden by the Indian Constitution of 1950. But Dalits are the poorest, impure women and men living on temporary works and miserable daily wages, working the lands of others. About 15 million are kids, girls and boys that have to work in semi-slavery conditions and without any possibility to finish their primary education. They have to work, and at school they are humiliated by their own teachers. Most child work is carried out by the untouchable boys and girls. They carry out traditional works that are considered dirty or degrading and very badly paid: cremation, cleaning latrines, cleaning septic tanks, the kind of jobs that involves touching blood, excrements, and other body corruptions. In 1920, Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar entered the political scene. He was one of the first Dalits able to accomplish university studies in India, USA, and England, becoming a well-known person for his community. He criticized the Hindi and Muslim caste system and proposed to create separated electorates and reserves, both for the Dalits and for other religious communities. Gandhi was against this proposal. His position towards this subject was complicated. He considered Dalits as Harijan, God people, and interpreted the caste system as a diversification of horizontal nature occupations where everyone was equal without any hierarchical differences. He rejected discrimination and segregation inside their own castes. His criticism to the system drove him to make the following affirmation: "It does not matter which name we describe it with. God is the same one, and there isn't another one. And if we are children of the same Creator, there cannot be, as it is natural, any caste among us." Ignorance or political use. In any case, the social equality he talked about was only theoretical. It is scarcely 40 kilometers south of Bangalore, one of the Indian cities that appeared as a result of the industry development of both software and IT services. Anekal is a rural population that is joining step by step to the Bangalore suburban belt. Anekal's population is of about 200,000 inhabitants. Half of them, at least, live in Anekal Taluk, the crowded city center. The other half is located in hundreds of villages that are populating the rural areas. It is estimated that 40% of Anekal inhabitants are Dalits, and this percentage is higher in the rural villages of the area. All Anekal villages are poor, very poor. Those around the city center are crowded and well communicated. The rest of them farther away. Those villages that are hidden in the mountains are smaller, and the paths to access them are tricky and slow. This lack of communication makes a simple and easy problem become much worse during the rainy spell. A kid with a simple diarrhea could die on the way to a national health clinic. Anekal lands are fertile and useful to cultivate, and there is plenty of water and forests. However, the former owners of large estates are selling their lands to new owners that threaten to use them to build new suburbs close to Bangalore. This makes the rural villages of Anekal become smaller, which means even less job opportunities for the Dalits. There's never been a community feeling around the Dalit villages of Anekal. The limited conscience about their individual rights has made it impossible throughout the centuries. The lack of organization and management to compensate the Indian discrimination system has broken the heart and mind of most of them. Broken families, alcoholism and abuses, debts, unhealthiness and hopelessness, where girls and boys have not any chance of improving their life, suffering labor exploitation, and where women, the weakest link in the chain, bear the sum of all kinds of injustice. Most of the Dalits from Anekal are Hindi, but we also find Muslims and Christians living there. However, although the religious expression is always present in the Dalits' daily life, belonging to one religion or another is not an outstanding factor. It astonishes that Brahmins, the higher caste, even when they share the same inhuman conditions with the rest of the village, keep their privileges given by their caste by law. CIRW is a social organization that works for the poorest group of people of Anekal, trying to get an all-around development. It was created by Jesuits in Karnataka, whose presence and influence in the state is well known thanks to their colleges and universities. The Center for Integral Rural Welfare was built 37 years ago, and it is led by its Jesuit headmaster, Anil de Mello. Nowadays, it has got a sound basis thanks to a committed group of helpers and a network of Dalit communities around the villages and suburbs of Anekal. A lot of the educational, sanity or job projects are now a reality. First, they started as a slow and complex work of raising public awareness, helping Dalits to get their own self-esteem, to believe that being Dalit is not a bad thing, but an identity, a force that prevents taking advantage of others. It has not been easy. Giving them a conscience of belonging to a community, group or human collective has not been easy either, a feeling that was almost removed by the caste system. The work is giving good results. There are more than 50 Anekal villages where they now have, in different degrees, a collective or a community that works together in order to create common projects. Communities based especially in women that have as their main target to get their hope back, and they are achieving it. CIRW is focused on education. Their main strategic bet is to use the education for the individual and social Dalits integration. Within an Indian society set up on an inhuman caste system, CIRW considers that training and the permanent incorporation of young people to high school and university does not only give them the chance of developing themselves in both personal and professional way, but also, and in a special way, it can help them get social recognition to overcome the limits established by their caste. Education is the only way for the Dalit youth to change all those unfair structures and look at their future with hope. This educational pathway has not been possible over the last years, but not today. The last 2 years of college, pre-university courses are only taught in private centers, in which impure Dalits are not allowed to enter. In 2010, CIRW, in collaboration with Taldeka, built a college named St. Joseph College, where these pre-university courses are taught. Everyone, no matter what caste or religion they come from, can go to this college. It is the first time that Dalits can study both high school and university in Anekal. CIRW educational programs have been based on Balayoti hostels for several years. Balayoti are residences where Dalit girls and boys are taken in. Balayoti means small lights in Kannada, their local language, making an allusion to what these communities mean for these girls and boys. Nowadays, there are only 3 residences. The 2 first ones, one for boys and one for girls. Both of them are located downtown in Anekal. The kids living there are between 12 and 18 years old, and they come from all kinds of religious background, Hindi, Muslim, Catholic, etc. The third one, located in a nearby village, Gaurenahali, is the first encounter with 7 to 12-year-old children. These kids are meant to eventually enter one of the other 2 residences. All boys and girls attending to Balayoti hostels live in them. They all come from different villages linked to the CIRW community network and have been selected under the same criterion of priority and needs. During teaching hours, they all go to school, and then in the residences they are trained in lots of disciplines: dancing, music, languages, Kannada, Hindi, English. They also do sports, study, do their laundry, and cooperate in nearly all the housekeeping tasks of the residents. And even more important, they are now trained on solidarity, in respect and responsibility. Despite their background, the extremely hard life they come from, here, in these residences, they look happy and responsible, as if they knew the amazing opportunity that life is giving them and they are not going to miss it. Gaurenahali is the residence that Taldeka has helped to build, and we are engaged to maintain, support, and develop it throughout time. Because of the poor hygiene conditions that force them to wash themselves in the streets, taking turns, as well as for the obvious lack of space, which only has room enough for 20 children, it has been proposed to move them all to Anekal, near the girls' residence. With this measure, and other ones, such as the creation of a new well of drinkable water essential to preserve their health, the purchase of mattresses and individual blankets, and the following room adaptation, it will be possible to improve their life conditions regarding the fact that they are now sleeping on a common carpet. The group numbers 40 boys and girls that represent a larger part of CIRW villages. There are not more than 2 girls boys from each village, and they have been selected by the community under special needs criterion: orphans from both mother and father, broken families. Our commitment is to go with them all the way through both residences. For Taldeka Lagunduz, the work that is being developed in Balayoti hostels is very positive. Our idea is to continue with the creation and maintenance of new residences where we could welcome more and more Dalit girls and boys, kids that otherwise would have no childhood and would be working in inappropriate jobs for their age. Sometimes these Balayoti hostels residents go back to their homes. Some go on weekends, holidays time, depending on their family's situation and other factors. And what they see then is a completely different reality than what they live day a day in the residence. CIRW has in these other work fields of reality an urgent and almost impossible task. At the same time that communities improve their self-management capacity, there are lots of new projects to start working with: health and feeding improvement plans, illness prevention, building houses, waste disposal systems, buying livestock in its management and the common basis. And all these initiatives are developed on the basis of a Balwadi's network and women groups. The Balwadi, one per village, represents the host, the coordinator of the community's work. This one is in charge of improving their habits in order to prevent illnesses, boosting the family's confidence, and trying to improve the children's welfare. And he also sets up the conditions to grow the organization and cooperation in communities. Women groups, called self-help groups, represent the other mainstay of the community. They have got regular meetings where they plan and discuss their new initiatives. Clothing factories where not only they train themselves, but it also gives them the chance of getting a job in some agreed textile industries, manufacture or livestock small businesses, building and restoration of new houses. A new system of credit and savings has been arranged through these self-aid groups. It is called the rotation funds. These funds, which are managed by groups of women from the villages, both promote previously agreed projects and safeguard their scarce earnings. This way, their lost confidence is regained little by little. It also helps women to reach a notorious improvement in their life conditions. Furthermore, women have found in these groups a place where they can forget about all that gender violence they have suffered at home, violence exercised by their alcoholic and indifferent husbands. Taldeka Lagunduz wants to keep on working with CIRW, developing other aspects of the Dalit communities, such as to promote new jobs from small collective businesses, professional training that will allow them to work in new jobs that are currently forbidden to Dalits, increase women's leadership and mitigate the unhealthiness of their house. It is very common in India that a man who belongs to a low caste suffers from humiliation and insults. As a sensitive man, this really hurt my soul. The pain and shortage made me a poet. Murnakudu Chinnaswamy. The European Parliament resolution of December the 18th, 2006 about the Dalits' human rights situation in India urges the government to collaborate more closely with the United Nations departments related to human rights with the main target of eradicating caste discrimination. It also asks this government to take preventive measures to reduce the risk of Dalits being tortured and other legal measures both to penalize torture in India and to punish those police officers that use it. Thanks to the Center for Integral Rural Welfare, CIRW, Taldeka, with other people and organizations, the Dalits from Anekal have decided to take an important role in their future. Pain, rejection, anger, rebellion, repression, but also humor, poetry, and hope. In Taldeka Lagunduz, we support Dalits and we help them to search for a counterculture that allows them to protect their existence and in their fight to rewrite their history within a new culture based on affection and understanding. We work with Dalits to create a path from which we can walk towards equality, justice, respect, and harmony. According to Taldeka, Dalits boys and girls are these small lights known as balayoti, where we can still see all those colors without making any effort and where things are nearly ever black or white. We like to think that Dalit kids meet every single day in a huge assembly of laughs, dances, games and songs, and of course, study.